What is up, my friends? How's it going? Today we are talking about why affirmations are a little bit lame, and I'll explain why I think that, and some other ways that I've used over the years that I think are a little bit better in terms of helping you to build a better relationship to yourself. And now the reason I say that affirmations are lame, and look, nothing's universal. Affirmations might be like the best thing for you, and if it works for you, cool. But in my experience and from conversations that I've had with people, affirmations feel a little bit empty. And the reason I say that is because there is no weight, there's no evidence behind the affirmation when you say it. It's kind of like you don't really believe it. And you can say, well, I just got to keep telling myself that until I believe it. But I don't really think that's how our brains work. We look for evidence to confirm that things are true. And so, it's like if someone tells you, hey, the sky's green, and you're looking around like, the sky's blue. There's no evidence to support. You could say the sky is green a million times, but you're never going to believe that it's green because there's no evidence to support it. And so, I think the intention behind affirmations is great. The intention is to change the way you're thinking, to change the beliefs about yourself, to be more positive and uplifting and think a different way about yourself. But again, I think there are better ways to do this. And one of those ways that I have learned is, I don't remember where I learned it, but it was a few years ago. And it's something called, your greatest hits. Okay. And I love this. Like, you make a list of all your greatest hits, all the things that you ever accomplished that you're proud of throughout your life, like literally from when you were born to now to this current moment, everything, even if it's like a very small thing, doesn't matter, write it down. Okay. I grabbed my greatest hits list here so I could show it to you guys. I wrote this in, I don't know, it was a few years ago. It could probably use some updating. So I kind of add to it a little bit here and there, but I put it in my closet. So every time I go in there, I see it. You can put it wherever you want to, like behind your bathroom, like when you open your mirror, you could see it there. Or, on the back of your door in your room, but it's like somewhere where it's like you see that, and you can kind of intentionally go to it when you need that confidence boost and look at it, but also it's there. So it's almost unconscious that it's there, and you kind of see it every now and then. And it reminds you like how great you really are and on all the things that you've actually done. What are some of the things that I wrote? I wrote down that I was I was the MVP in a VYBA, it's a basketball association, in our championship game. Wrote down that I was a GATE student in like middle school. I was an AP student in high school. I wrote down, what are some other things I've written down? Even these things like this, like I broke my collarbone while I was traveling, and I just kept going, and I kept traveling. Granted with like a brace, but that to me is like, hey, like kind of a badass. Maybe some people might think it's stupid, but I still had a I still had a brace on. I was still healing it, but I kept going, right? I camped on a beach island for a month without technology or running water. I launched a boot camp at my gym, and I got some really great participation. I sold 5 new programs in 3 weeks when I started selling online for my coaching programs. I moved out on my own with no job security, no income. So you see, it doesn't matter. It's just things that you've done in your life that you are proud of yourself for doing. It makes you feel good. That's the point. So that you can that's evidence. This is evidence. This is facts. I've done these things. So I can say to myself, look what I've done. And these are reasons to see myself in a way that is courageous, in a way that is confident, in a way that I can feel good about myself. It gives me that boost to my self-esteem. I think that this is a really good thing to do. Okay, so that's number one. The second thing is something I learned from Lisa Nichols, who I freaking love. Lisa Nichols. If you haven't heard of her, you should check her out. She's an amazing speaker. But she does something that she taught me, which was called a mirror exercise. So I was doing this really consistently for a few months, and absolutely, I really loved it. I would encourage everyone to do this. You can either do it right when you wake up in the morning, or you can do it right before you go to sleep. I was doing it right before I went to sleep. So what you do is you sit down in front of a mirror and you look yourself in the eyes. This is really important that you actually are looking at yourself. It's like you're talking to a friend, you're talking to yourself. You start to see yourself as your friend as you kind of do this. And at first it feels really silly. It kind of feels awkward and weird. But what you do is you run through 3 different sentences and you think about your entire day. So the first one is, Maggie, and you say your name because you're talking to yourself and you're becoming your friend through this process. And you're building a healthy, positive, more encouraging relationship with yourself. Maggie, I am proud of you for, and then list 5 things, but one at a time. So you need to say, I am proud of you for waking up on time this morning. Again, it could be anything small. And then you say again, I am proud of you for not smoking weed today. I am proud of you for getting to the gym. Maggie, I am proud of you for X, Y, Z, right? Say your name. I am proud of you for, and name that thing. Do it 5 to 8 different things, okay? And then the next one, once you're done with that part, you're gonna go to Maggie, I forgive you for lashing out at mom on your conversation, your phone call today. I forgive you for hitting the snooze button, whatever it is, right? I forgive you for thinking about your whole day, what it is that you forgive yourself for. Give yourself compassion and love. And it's almost like a release. You kind of don't hold on to those things that you might have beaten yourself up before, felt bad about, not felt good enough about. So Maggie, I forgive you for, again, 5 to 8 things. You're gonna go through that one by one. And then the last one is, Maggie, I'm committed to whatever you want to say. Maggie, I'm committed to continuing to do these mirror exercises every single night before I go to sleep. Maggie, I'm committed to hitting the gym, staying consistent and going to the gym for 5 days a week. Okay. Maggie, I'm committed to showing up tomorrow for my presentation with enthusiasm and with positivity. Okay. And you're going to do that 5 to 8 times. Right. So you go through that, and the idea here is to be very consistent in doing this every single night. Try it for at least 4 weeks. And you might feel silly, but when I did this, there was so much, I would tear up a lot as I looked myself. Because the thing is, if you look yourself in the eye, you really see yourself. And I really formed a better relationship with myself. I really started to love myself more. I gave myself more compassion. And I really started to be more accepting of myself. And I think that that's really, really important in helping you to cultivate that better relationship with yourself. And you can start to think differently about how you see yourself and how you move throughout your day as you do this, because you do that at the end of the night, and the next day you kind of have a different feeling as you move throughout the day about yourself. Okay, so that's number 2. Now the third thing is it's called reframing your stories, right? And so when the inner critic comes in throughout the day and it tells you what kind of it tells you something that is negative about yourself, or is a belief about what you can and cannot do, what you're capable of you not being good enough, of reasons why you can't do the thing that you want to do, or accomplish the goal that you're headed towards, or stay consistent with the goal that you're working on. Your inner critic is coming up, and I've talked about this in other videos, where we can start to notice the inner critic and what it's telling you. But what's really important is that we start to reframe and kind of rethink about what that critic is saying, and ask it to be a little bit more supportive and a little bit kinder in the way that it's saying things. So it's kind of like if your best friend kind of had some bad manners and was like, just said something to you that was really direct and kind of mean, you'd be like, yeah, I don't really like that you said that. Could you say it in a different way? Some people could say one thing and someone else could say it a different way that's nicer and more compassionate and more supportive, and you will hear them and actually listen to them without being defensive, because they've said it in a way that allowed you to hear them, that was kinder. So that's kind of what we're doing when we're reframing. So let's say like my inner critic says to me like, I can't do this, I can't do it. So what we want to do is start to kind of reframe it in a way that is a little bit more positive. So it's not an automatic like flip over where I can do this. Like an affirmation is kind of like tries to flip things completely 100% around. And you're just like, but you can't, right? There's still that belief that you can't do it. So what we want to do is just kind of stretch that a little bit, stretch that out into something that's a little bit more positive. So I can't do it. I would say, I can't do it yet. And then we try to stretch that out even a little bit more. I can't do it yet, but I'm open to exploring my options. Again, I haven't figured it out yet, but I want to find a way. I haven't figured it out yet, but I will find a way. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm committed to finding a way. So you see how we went from I can't do it to I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm committed to finding a way, which isn't entirely saying, we can do it. It's like being still a little bit realistic, and sort of, but more positive and more supportive and more encouraging. And that's what we really want to do, is just kind of stretch that out a little bit until you get to a point where you can get on board with that. It feels that makes sense to you, that's positive, and you're not kind of lying to yourself or bullshitting yourself, but you're just kind of telling yourself that story in a different way that allows you to be more positive and continue to move forward in your goals. And that's an exercise I got from Kate Swoboda, who talks about, courage being a habit. And this is one of the ways in which she teaches it, is learning to reframe stories. And so all three of those things are excellent tools that you can put in your toolbox to help you build a better relationship to yourself, to start thinking differently and more positively about yourself in a way that is more, I want to say it's more realistic, it's more believable, right? Than straight up just going to affirmations, which is like completely going from like A to Z. And you don't really have any middle ground or anything to stand on. And it feels really wobbly when you're like, you're saying the affirmation and you don't really believe it. So this kind of gives us a nice middle ground to start like building that bridge to creating that relationship to ourselves in a way that is uplifting, but still in the realm of our believability, if that makes sense, right? So I hope that helps. Go ahead and try that. Let me know if the comments of any of those kind of helped you out. I would love to hear from you. And yeah. Have a great rest of your day, night, morning, wherever you are.